Hey everyone, it's Sammy from Scrapmaster's Paradise, and today I'm doing a voiceover. I ended up wiping my computer and getting the new iMovie, and now I can do voiceovers, and so I'm hoping to do a lot more of these coming up for you guys. I'm playing along with the Holiday Cards Challenge over at the Lawn Fanatics blog, which is a challenge blog by Lawn Fawn. And so I'm showing you guys some of my supplies here. I've got my Copics ready. I've got my stamp set and die cut set ready. It's called Happy Howlidays from Lawn Fawn. This was a Simon Says stamp exclusive. I don't think that they have it anymore. But guys, they have so many cute holiday stamps, so don't be discouraged if you really wanted this one. Look at the other holiday ones that they have because they are bomb. They have a little Yeti one that I love. I also have some cute penguins. They've just released a bunch of holiday stuff recently, so definitely check them out. So I'm going to stamp all of my shapes onto white cardstock using the Cocoa Memento ink. This ink does not bleed with Copics, so I decided to use the Cocoa just to tone down the edges a little bit. Sometimes when you use black, the edges can be really stark. My plan is to build a little scene, and I'm going to use some die cut shapes to create a little layer and a frame so that it'll look really nice on the card. And so I'm going to stamp everything on here with the Cocoa ink. I'm going to choose two dogs, the little Christmas box, the antlers, and the cute little doggy bowl that has a gingerbread man sticking out. And so I'm going to build my scene with those little elements. Now you may notice that I am kind of rubbing the stamp into the ink pad before I blot it. That's because sometimes when you're using brand new stamps, they don't stick to the ink as well. They coated with something, and so I do that to make sure that the ink is sticking really nicely. You can also stamp off a couple of times, dip it in the ink and stamp off on a scrap piece of paper to get the stamps holding the ink really well. But I find that just rubbing them on the ink pad does the same job. Now I would love your advice on this next part. Leave your comment down below. Do you color first and then die cut, or do you die cut and then color? So I actually go ahead and die cut before I color because I didn't want to accidentally make a mistake. So now moving on to the die cutting, I do have the matching die cut set. They're called lawn cuts, and they usually have these for most stamp sets that they make now. I found that they are really easy to just break apart these wafer dies, except when there is a shape in the middle. They have it held on by 3 different things, so I wasn't able to bend and move these. You are going to want some wire cutters for the instances like that where the shapes are nested together like that. As I am breaking these apart, I am setting aside the ones that I'm going to use. I'm going to cut out every shape that I stamped. I turned off the camera so that I could get the die cuts apart, and then I also found the pattern papers while I was doing that. So I thought I would use a red cardstock background with the snowflake paper and then do the layers with the stripes and the polka dot papers. These are all just really old pattern papers from my stash. I know that the polka dot one is Basil and it is in stock at scrapbook.com. For my die cutting, I'm using the magnetic platform. It helps you line up these dies, but I find that the magnets are not over the entire platform, so sometimes the die cuts will shift when you set them down. And so I have to do this in multiple parts because some of them were not lining up. They were just trying to stick to magnets. So you can see here, the little box shape was bouncing and not lining up. So I skipped that one and work on getting the other ones lined up. Once I get all the little lawn fawn shapes cut out, I go ahead and start working on my card layers. I want to do a label shape, and I also wanted to make sure that the label shape fit on the card, so I went ahead and cut my card front. It's just a half of a sheet of regular 8.5 by 11 cardstock. I just cut it down like hot dog style so that my card will open from the bottom. I really like that style of card. So I picked out some Spellbinders dies. I have a scallop label and then a regular label, and I decided not to choose the ones that perfectly line up because I wanted the stripe paper that I chose to show up really nice as a border, and so I'm using a smaller one, and then I'll be able to see a lot of that red around it. When I was writing up my blog post for this card, I could not find these Spellbinders dies anywhere. I don't know which label shape these are, but I think they may have retired a bunch of them or something because I couldn't find these in stock. But the thing is now a bunch of different companies are making these pretty label shapes and the scallops to go with them, like zigzag edges to go with them. It's really awesome how much stuff is out there now versus when I was stamping. It's been like 2 years since I even stamped a card at all. And so it was amazing to like look in the stores and see how much is new. Anyway, back to this card. I'm cutting out the last layer, and this is a Cartabella paper. I can tell by the little label there. But like all of my supplies, they're just years old at this point. Next, I'm going to go ahead and score my cardstock that I'm going to use. I'm just scoring it in the middle at 5.5 inches. When I'm working to get all the layers put on the card front, I decided to cut the edges just a little bit on this because I wanted more of the red to show on the sides. And I'm using ATG to assemble all these pieces, and then I'll work on coloring up the lawn fawn shapes. So for the coloring, I am doing really basic Copic coloring. I have not used these in forever, and so I'm just going to do the two-toned coloring for pretty much everything except the outside of the box. I'm just using a little bit of one of the neutral colors as a little border around it. I didn't do any sort of shading on the box itself. I have all the colors listed on the blog. I will link that down below for you guys if you're interested in the colors that I use. They're just really, really basic. I didn't do anything fancy at all. Now it's time to put the whole thing together, and so I decided I wanted to stamp my sentiment on the bottom of the green piece because I thought it would be too busy trying to stamp it on the brown. So I leave a little bit of space on the green, and I'm going to assemble the dogs to be one dog in the box and then one dog with the antlers. Before stamping, I made sure that my title fit. I'm using the one that says Happy Howlidays. I'm going to use the same cocoa ink for this. I just think this sentiment is super duper cute. And once I stamped the sentiment, my card was done. I really had fun putting this together. It has been so long. It's kind of like riding a bicycle. I felt like I knew what I was doing. Here is a look at the card. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. You're gonna see more of these because I can do the voiceovers now. I am going to have a scrap goals video for you guys very soon. Have a great day. Be sure to subscribe so you can follow me along. Hit that thumbs up button, and I'll catch you next time. Have a great day. Bye.